Hi, and welcome to this brief overview video on the Illustra Pro Gen 4 video settings. To access our camera, navigate to the camera IP address in your web browser and you'll be greeted by the Illustra Web GUI login. The default username and password will be admin, and then select Setup from the navigation tabs at the top of the screen. On logging in, you'll be presented with the Video Streams menu. From here, you'll be able to configure the streams for live video for this camera. Depending on which camera you are using, it may vary in the amount of available streams on said camera. You can then select the codec to be either H.264, H.265, or MJPEG. Again, this may vary depending on the camera you are using and its functionality. And then we can configure the resolution using the drop-down list as shown. We can then configure the frame rate and the GOP length by using the sliders on screen. If we had selected the MJPEG codec, the MJPEG quality slider would be available to us to edit. Then we have the rate control option drop-down where we can choose variable, constant, or variable constant bitrate control. The additional settings below will change depending on which bitrate control you choose to then manually configure the settings below. Next we have the picture basic settings menu from the left hand side. Then you can see there are 5 additional tabs here for picture basic, picture additional, image profiles, image stabilization, and lens calibration. Starting in the picture basic tab, you have the picture rotation options to flip or mirror the camera and corridor mode, which will manipulate the camera view for looking down long corridors. You then have the manual and autofocus and zoom settings, so you can focus the camera view on the main region of interest for that camera's purpose. Then we have the main exposure settings where you can fully configure the camera view to get the best picture quality possible. The exposure profiles and methods are custom pre-made settings that will automatically configure the camera settings to best suit the environment and location the camera is in. With profiles, you can set the camera for an indoor or outdoor location, or more specifically for license plate recognition or for a gaming environment like a casino. The exposure method can tailor suit the focus to specific regions within the camera view, again creating the best camera view possible. Below these settings, you can then manually adjust the additional exposure settings to really fine-tune the camera view to your specific requirements. Moving on to our next tab of Picture Additional, here you can adjust some additional settings to enable the likes of wide dynamic range, smart defog modes, and select the sensitivity of the day to night mode for the camera. We also have the option to manually adjust the picture quality with the likes of color, contrast, and sharpness, for example. However, these are automatically configured when selecting the exposure profile and the methods we previously discussed. The next tab we have is for image profiles, which are preset settings that can be downloaded by the user and applied to the camera here. A new feature to the Illustra camera range is image stabilization, which can be set to low or high, and can crop the camera field of view by up to 20% to negate the effects of any camera movement from shaking or windy conditions, for example. Then we have the lens calibration setting, which is now a completely automatic process which will fully calibrate the lens back to their default settings. Please note, this process has been sped up for demonstrational purposes. The next submenu we have is the Date, Time, and OSD menu. Here you can set the camera friendly name, the date format, the time in either 12 or 24 hours, the time zones, and then the time can be set either manually from the drop down boxes or by configuring an NTP server on your network. The OSD tab will allow you to edit the appearance of the camera pane by showing information like date and time, camera name, or a specific user-defined message which can be typed in the field at the bottom of the screen. The last submenu option is the privacy zone menu. Here you can create up to 10 different privacy zones within the camera pane. To create a privacy zone, select the edit icon and then draw a region on the camera pane that you wish to be included within the privacy zone. Next, create a name for the privacy zone and then select Save. You can now see how the camera view is obscured by the privacy zone. And these can be enabled or disabled by selecting the checkbox on screen, and you can delete a privacy zone by selecting the delete icon.